At Me Bro Show, and we are going to be doing a deep dive into this Paul Pierce. And I have purposefully selected him out so that I could compare him directly with this Pink Diamond Richard Jefferson, as they do bear a lot of similarities, except for the fact that Pink Diamond Richard Jefferson is 38 years old, even though he's in a Nets jersey. That's hyper weird, but we're going to keep moving. Alright, so how do they compare? So Paul Pierce is a much better post player, with a 92 post fade, 88 post moves. And not much of a post hook, but he's basically plus 24 in all post categories, which is outstanding. Virtually even on the driving layup, virtually even on the shooting. They trade a point mid-range. Well, he's one more in midi, and he doesn't come out too terribly with the driving dunk. I mean, Richard Jefferson is clearly superior, but once you get an 85 dunk, you should be a fantastic dunker. The thing is, we know Richard Jefferson has a dunker's dunk package. We have to see what they gave to Paul Pierce, because Paul Pierce was never the flashiest dunker. So if he has just a regular Paul Pierce dunk package, he'll basically be Paul Pierce with contact dunks, which is not a bad thing. He might have a bunch of safe stuff. So the perimeter defense, Paul Pierce is actually slightly better, slightly worse on the interior defense, but both of these guys can hold their own on the interior with very high interior defensive ratings. Rebounding, Jefferson wins out significantly. Jefferson also significantly faster, with both +5 in acceleration, +4 in acceleration, +5 in speed. Better athlete at +98, but Paul Pierce much stronger with a +90 strength, 12 more in strength. So Paul Pierce comparing very favorably to this Richard Jefferson, and really they did a nice job of balancing out how they're different. Jefferson much more of a leaper, Pierce much stronger. That's true for their real life counterparts as well. Let's see how they compare from a badge standpoint. So volume shooter, well, it's not going to be easy to see side by side, but we can just basically say Paul Pierce has Hall of Fame quick draw and range extender, and that's the most relevant thing. They both have Intimidator. What's Paul Pierce's Intimidator on? He does have Intimidator, right? I'm not crazy. Does he have Gold Intimidator? Because he has Defensive Leader. Wow, he's got... Oh, does he not have Intimidator? Is that why? Is that why this card is so cheap? That he doesn't have... No, he does. I'm crazy. I am crazy. His Intimidator's right there. Yeah, so they both have Gold Intimidator. Jefferson has Gold Chase Down. In Pierce, I do not see Chase Down Artist here. Let me slow down and make sure, because that is a good badge. I think a little underrated. I don't really hear people talk about that badge a whole lot. It's a fantastic badge. Paul Pierce with Hall of Fame Slithery and Hall of Fame Contact. He should really be just an excellent card, to be honest with you. I know that Steady Shooter is scaring people off a little bit, but for my money, for my MT, Paul Pierce should be a very good card. So let's take him right into the freestyle and see what kind of signature styles he is bringing to the table. This is what's really going to make or break Paul Pierce. I know he was considered a very good card at the Amethyst level, although I personally don't think I played with the card. I believe I have the card on my other account when they were just giving out Paul Pierce cards all the time, but I don't think I ever played with him. Alright, hot zones are fantastic. So this is what I was talking about with Steady Shooter. If you got Hot Zone Hunter, just by the numbers, it should counter the effects of Steady Shooter. It should. Alright, so I see Paul's green window is fairly easy to see. Yeah, that's a nice release. That's a really nice release. Oh yeah, that's gorgeous. Oh, that's beautiful. That feels really good on Hall of Fame Quick Draw. Wow, that's silky smooth. Because he's so low value, I will probably wind up keeping this card, depending on what else he has. Alright, so that's looking good. Let's see what his moving shots look like. Should be pretty important for Paul Pierce. He's got a very straight up and down moving shot. Yeah, so this is very easy to hit. You should be able to green that no problem. It's very similar to his standing shot. Wow, this guy shoots really well. Man, the market is crazy. I just don't understand why some cards come. This guy is almost in the teens. Like, if I'd have waited, I could have gotten this card for 17K. On a snipe, you can get this card super cheap, man. Definitely super cheap. All right, let's see what the dribbles look like. Let's go full court first. I will say right off the bat, he does not feel like a lightning fast card, right? In fact, let's look at that for a second. So this is me running around with Paul Pierce. It feels pretty good. You see that quick first step kind of steps in and gives him a little boost. I don't even know if that's it. It might just be his acceleration numbers kicking in. But he feels good, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't feel particularly fast. And I'm just going to run around with Westbrook first and then Jimmy Butler to compare speeds. So you see Westbrook, he's only a few more speed, but you can like literally visibly see that Westbrook is significantly faster than Paul Pierce. This is just another episode of the speed ratings in 2K are bold-faced lie. Always test the card speed first before you take it to the bank what their speeds are. And I'm going to run around with Jimmy Butler as well. Jimmy clearly doesn't feel as fast as Westbrook, but he moves pretty well. You know, pretty good feeling card. And then we're going to go back to Paul Pierce and look at his speed one more time. He feels similar to Jimmy, which is no complaint for me. I think Jimmy's speed is adequate. If he's faster than Jimmy, I personally can't tell. All right, so let's look at his full court dribbles, crossover. He's got a wide crossover. Okay, so his between the legs has a delay, but it does speed him up. So one of the best uses of this kind of between the legs is if you do a behind the back dribble and immediately put the between the legs, he will glide into that. Yeah, Westbrook is on another level, Matt Skizzy. And Matt Skizzy, I saw your invite to play. I actually wasn't even on this account. I was just signing in to do my daily thing, and then I immediately switched screens. So I would like to play one day, though. So particularly with shot creators, this between the legs dribble is really good because you can turn a basket drive into a jump shot really easy. And that's very, very strong. People have to defend you going to the basket, especially with a card with an 85 driving dunk, those contact dunks. So that should be really good. All right, let's see the behind the back. Very good behind the back. Not the fully elite behind the back, but let's see what that looks like in a combo real quick. Nope, that's not how you see what it looks like in a combo. So what I want to do here is I want to do the behind the back. There we go. There we go. Wanted to see the glitchy stuff. So you use the momentum behind the back dribble, or aka the former explosive behind the back, and you can do the crossover behind the back after that, and they move. It's a really good drive to the basket combo. It's very parkish. It's not the most sim thing in the world, but you see they kind of pop all around the court. Very hard to keep track of. Really good for stuff like TTO. Would I say that Westbrook is a good third option between D Wade and LeBron? That is exactly how I'm using him. In fact, he's so good, I immediately sold my Clyde Frazier. And that's also why I didn't keep CJ McCollum, because that's my Westbrook role right there. Westbrook is my do-it-all third option guard, and it also gives me the flexibility to play LeBron at the small forward or Wade at the 2 if I so please, and I still feel pretty good about my point guard thing. All right, so his in and out, very good in and out. And that's his in and out left stick direction. So as you guys know, when you do the in and out, you can change the course of it by moving the left stick in either direction, and it will just kind of swing the character around the court, which can be really good. So you see the in and out to the same side. With characters like this that have that really good directional movement, this is a really strong move. And it's actually really strong in the park and rec center as well. You get buckets going full court with that move. Really fakes people out, like very consistently. So if you're not using your in and outs a lot, definitely give that move a look depending on what card you're rolling with, because you can in and out, and you can also in and out and go into a crossover move directly. I'll display that real quick. So that's in and out into the crossover. Now he has the hesitation cross kind of built into it, so you just look for a different move. So that's in and out between the legs, a little too slow. Hopefully his behind the back combos well. Yeah, his behind the back is probably your best option, but you know, in general, the in and out directed in any direction is gives you a nice little mix up of options. And then the between the legs after the in and out also opens you up for the range extender 3 as well. So that's really strong. All right, so let's see. Hesitation branches, hesitation behind the back, pretty good. He definitely stops a lot. The one negative thing I would say is you really do feel that startup with Paul Pierce's between the legs. If he didn't have that startup between the legs, this card would be super amazing in the full court. But he just has this long delay. So I'll tell you guys when I'm triggering it so you guys can get a sense of the timing. So tap it. See? He takes a whole step before he goes between the legs. it is not a thing that kills the card by any stretch, but it definitely is something I should mention to you guys, that in the full court, I wouldn't call him a straight line guy in totality, but he would be a legit full court beast if he had a better between the legs. It would solve all of the, it would bring his full court game together a lot. Without that, his full court game is not looking super strong. But before we get out of here with the full court dribbles, we got to check his crossover behind the back. All right, he's got a good crossover behind the back. It's good. It's not the best. He doesn't have the teleporting basketball like Bam Adebayo. His between the legs behind the back is a little swifter. Yeah, his between the legs behind the back is swifter than his crossover behind the back. So that's what I would recommend. Okay, he doesn't have the behind the back teleport. Let's see what kind of hezzy he has. He cannot cancel his hezzy. He does not have the Pro 1 or the Pro 3 hesitation. So he can't cancel it into a drive. But of course he can cancel it to a shot. I've done that a couple of times already. And it's got a good speed to it. You know, it's got a good speed to it. You can cancel it very, very early. So it should be pretty strong for you. Let's see his left stick hesitation. Again, not the fastest. It's pretty good. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it definitely is not the level of Jimmy or Westbrook or anything like that. It doesn't substitute for him not having Pro 3 or Pro 1, so I would just call it a negative outright. I would say his hesitation game is A minus B tier. He has a B tier hesitation game. It's not his strong suit. He's mostly hesitating into the shot. But let's see what his step back looks like, because that can improve your hesitation game. All right, let's see how that combos, because that's a pretty solid step back. Okay, he's got a shooter's game on the perimeter. He's not necessarily going to be the best going to the basket, but it's a pretty smooth combo into his step back. All right, let's check his half court dribbles. So that's his momentum. Check out his double momentum. All right, he's kind of bouncy on the momentum dribble. Let's see that again. Yeah, his momentum dribble's got a little hippity hop. He definitely dribbles like a dribble. He's got a nice shooters behind the back, which is really good for this kind of thing. Let me try it here. Let's go. Yeah, and that will get you open behind the screen. You just do the behind the back sham god into the between the legs into the hold turbo between the legs, and you can really dance behind screens and get off, and you can launch out of that if you so choose. So that's pretty nice. All right, let's see what else he's bringing to the table. Does he have the killer cross? I highly doubt it. No. You know what? It is not bad. It is not terrible. It's usable. It's obviously not Westbrook or Jimmy, but it's definitely usable. You can definitely use that move and catch people. So far his animations are like solid. They're good. He doesn't have bad animations. Nothing that scares me off like Aaron Gordon, where I consider Aaron Gordon more of an off-ball player because his animations are so bad. Pierce, he has his tools, but nothing truly overpowered. That's the one thing I'll say. He doesn't have anything that I found to be like, oh man, this thing is like super amazing. But we're going to keep looking, see what else he's got, what else he's bringing to the table. What's up, Trigger Max? Welcome to the chat. All right, so we checked his step back, we checked his momentum, we checked his behind the back, which looks like that. Really nice direction shift on his behind the back and a gorgeous speed up layup animation. That's really good stuff. There was something I wanted to check, guys. Help me remember what it was. I checked his killer crossover. That's actually a nice little dribble he has there too. He's got a nice little. Yeah, that's nice. That's really nice for shooters. The way he kind of steps back into his shooting form like that, you can definitely use that to your advantage and then explode immediately out of that. So that should work as well. His crossover, I would have to say, as a dribbler, he's like dead smack solid. Really just solid. Like nothing more than solid, nothing worse than solid. He's almost got like the decent animation from every animation package. That's a nice snatchback though. I remember what I was going to try. I would say he has an above average snatchback, that's for sure. His snatchback is really like, you feel like he's really creating some serious space with that snatchback. All right, let's check out his step back dribble. All right, that's pretty good. Let's try. So he goes way back with his step back, which is lovely. Let me see something. Oh yeah, yeah. He's got a nice. Oh yeah. So that I would say is probably one of the best things in his dribble package. So with Paul Pierce, I would recommend you can mix in his step back stuff because his step back is really nice out of his combos. So you can momentum step back and pop on people. It's not the fastest thing, which kind of describes Paul Pierce to a T, but it's solid. Can he launch out of that? No, he can't really launch out of that either. This card is so almost amazing. Almost amazing. He's just not quite there. He just doesn't have the animations to make me say that he can really keep up with Jimmy as a creator. Like, that's the thing about Jimmy is Jimmy has a lot of animations I wouldn't recommend, but he has enough elite animations that you can just use the really good animations and ignore the ones you don't like. Whereas with Paul Pierce, I'm just not seeing the go-to game from him. Yeah, so that's okay. His step back is okay. The way I'm doing that is I'm just doing a momentum dribble, holding backwards diagonal on the left stick and tapping square, which is a very strong move in general. And for him, it's quick enough that you could definitely use it. And I think you almost have to because he's a great shooter. And, you know, you got to make people respect that. And I would say if you're a dribbler with Paul Pierce, that's probably his best weapon besides the standard stuff. No, we haven't done his post animations yet, but we will definitely be doing that because it's really important to see. All right, let's look at all his post animations right now, actually. So this is his post hop, and let's see if he can double post hop. Please, Paul, help me out, buddy. Okay, he has an okay double post hop. His second hop isn't as OP as Bam's. Yeah, I can't even classify that as a double post hop. Like, he does have it because some cards won't do it. Like, they'll take too long. Like Anthony Davis can't do it at all. And if you guys aren't familiar with the double post hop, definitely check out the Bam Adebayo video, Bam's secret weapon or whatever, and I break down how to do it. But just for the sake of the stream, you're doing the post step back, you're tapping L trigger as his feet land, and then you're doing his regular step back. Is Bam on this squad? I can show you guys real quick what it looks like when it's really good, because it's a very, very strong move. I honestly think it's unguardable in the post because of the way the characters move. So this is what it should really look like. Yeah, all the way behind the three-point line. So that's when it's like at its best. Bam is he's one of the best with it so far. There's a couple other characters that have it. And he can just kind of hippity hop all the way backwards from the post. Paul Pierce is solid. But let's see the rest of his post animations. So another thing we want to check out of that post step back is see what his launches look like. So let's see that right now. Okay, he's very quick out of the post launch, which is fantastic. We're going to test out some other stuff doing that. Oh yeah. So I think the way this character is played is much more like a post shot creator than an off the dribble guy, which isn't a bad thing. It's just a very unique playing style. What's his size up look like? Size up's nothing special. Let's try some more stuff out of the post. See this post roll, nice and fast. Nothing tremendously special, but nice and fast. Let's see what that looks like into a moving shot. And that's going to be really strong for him. That right there, post rolling into the moving shot. First of all, it's a really good move in general. Does he have cross key scorer? Let's see that real quick, because that is affected by cross key scorer. I think it was Spac that was asking me about that badge. It might have been somebody else. But that is where the badge, he doesn't have cross key scorer. That's really unfortunate. But because he's one of the few cards that can really like use it. So that's his post hop fade. Regular post fade. Oh, very nice. Big green window on that. You could almost see it like snapping to that green window. Let's see if I can hit another one. No green that time. But yeah, I do think this is a move you can definitely use as a go-to move. And then of course, you can, take people to the basket with that. And he does have an elite behind the back. So I would definitely say that behind the back is going to be another bread and butter move for Paul Pierce because it's very, very strong. And you want to get to that behind the back as much as you possibly can, because that is definitely one of his better animations. It really moves him quickly. It moves him in any direction you want to move him. So I would say that one's really good. All right. So let's see. Let's check his traditional post spin. That's his traditional post spin, not his post launch, not his post baseline launch, but his post spin with the right stick. That's that. Let me see here. That's solid. Yeah, it's so funny. Like all of Paul Pierce's animations are just like good. They're not bad. They're not amazing. They're just all good. He's just a solid card all around. I definitely don't know if I'll be keeping the card because for my playstyle, he doesn't really do the things I love at a high level, but I do think that there are people who will love this card. I do think this is a card you can perform with at the high level if you know how to use him, particularly if you play him as a shot creator. I think that's the main thing, is you want to use all of these like hop step backs and stuff like that. You kind of use it's almost like real Paul Pierce. You got to be tricky, you know? He's not out here to like dominate in the Kobe, Michael Jordan card kind of way. He's definitely, look at that hop dunk. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. He's definitely more of a tricky card than a direct card. That's a gorgeous hop dunk. His hop dunks are very, very good. I'm doing that from way out there. So that's a big plus. That's a big plus. That hop dunk is a huge plus. So his behind the back's a plus. His shot release is a plus. His hop dunk is a plus. His step back is a plus. His shooter step back. I don't know. I need another name for this kind of that step back right there, because there's two step backs. There's the right trigger with the right step with the right stick backwards, and you see you can like keep hopping backwards. And then there's the one where you hold the right stick or you hold the left stick and tap square or tap shoot button for Xbox users. But yeah, Paul Pierce is just generally solid. I try not to get too into recommending the cards. Everybody has a different style, but my full assessment is that he is a good card especially for people who are going to play in his style. So playing out of the post and like triple threat online, as a catch and shoot guy, he's going to be phenomenal. A guy taking pick and rolls and going into the hezzy shot, he's going to be absolutely elite, like super elite tier. He feels just as good as Brandon Roy doing that kind of game. So I highly recommend that with him. That's going to be really strong, like really, really strong. His shot's super fast. In fact, let me say, just having his hop dunk and that at a high level already makes him a good card. Like with the badges he has. It's just, I also look for, well, what else can you bring to the table? What's unique and interesting about the card? And I think what's unique and interesting about Paul is probably his shot creator stuff. That's not my play style. I'm not the best guy to like display that stuff. But I do think if you play more of that Ticino type style, this Paul Pierce is probably amazing in that regard. So that pretty much wraps it up. I would say excellent hop dunk. Well, let's look at his layup animation before we get out of here. Nice. Well, he does a cradle layup when you hold forward. That's interesting. Let's do a real cradle layup. And that's his cradle layup, which should be actually pretty effective, to be honest. Let's go the other way. What's up, Kane? Big Daddy Kane. It's the Wild Wild West. Break out before you get bum rushed. I could literally go into entire Big Daddy Kane verses right now. And I'm not even a hip-hop guy, but I used to love him when I was a kid. Let's see. You just picked up Pierce for 22. You came right here to check the animations. Yeah, Wiz. So the bottom line is he's got all of the standard momentum stuff because he does have a high ball handle, but none of his individual animations are particularly amazing except for his running behind the back. So that behind the back is really high level. The real juice of the Paul Pierce card is going to be in his post-up game and in his shot creator stuff, like his hop shots and his post fade and like stuff like that. That's, I think, the real, juice of the card. I don't think he's a card that is going to be, taking people off the dribble a whole lot. He just doesn't have the animations to sustain that kind of gameplay, but I do think he can sustain his style of gameplay, which is a good style of gameplay and should be an effective style of gameplay. He should be excellent off the catch and shoot. He'll be excellent straight lining to the basket, solid in the full court, phenomenal coming off the pick and roll, handling the ball. So if you want to play that Brandon Roy style game, he can definitely do that. He just doesn't have a mix up off of that, so if you don't get the shot, you're kind of done. So to show you guys real quick what I mean, In fact, let's look at Paul Pierce, right? So say if I'm coming off a screen, or so a popular situation is a forward or somebody has the ball right here, and Pierce is in the corner. So you call Pierce out of the corner with the circle or B button, and he comes and catches it. And he catches it using the player who had the ball as a screen. And then you come around that screen, and you can go up immediately into a shot. Now, with Paul Pierce, that's pretty much all he can do. And if you decide to do that and you see that they're on top of you, you just have to stop, right? Whereas with Brandon Roy, which is why I favor that card so much, even though people are trying to act like he's outdated, he's not outdated. Brandon Roy coming in that situation can stop, and then shoot. With that pro 3 or 1 hesitation. Or he can stop, go to the basket. Or he can stop, step back. I did that totally wrong. He can stop, step back. You know, who has a good version of that? Somebody has a really nice style. It was CJ McCollum who I sold. CJ McCollum, you can do the hesitation into his step back right away, and it combos way better than it does with Brandon Roy. So, you know, he has a lot of tools coming out of it that with Paul Pierce, you just have to shoot. And when you just have to shoot, I don't regard it as... It's not as strong of a weapon because you just simply don't have as many options. But I think within his lane, Paul Pierce is definitely a strong card. I hope this gave you guys the information y'all needed to decide what to do with your MT. Paul is really cheap, so if you are looking to fill that position and you haven't gotten Richard Jefferson already, I would definitely say this card is worth your time. If you are already running RJ, I don't know if there's a good reason to pick this card up. But again, he's very, very cheap. So, you know, the 22 MT that he's going for, yeah, for the price, he's fantastic. Quentin Huff, can you get a shout out? Nah, man, I'm not giving Quentin Huff a shout out. No shout outs for Quentin Huff, guys. But, yo, thanks so much for watching the stream, guys. Much appreciated. Smith boys, what's up, man? But yeah, Pierce is solid. Pierce is solid. He's literally good. Is he great? No. I would honestly say right now I put Jimmy Butler way ahead of Pierce from an animation standpoint. Although Pierce does have the Hall of Fame quick draw and Hall of Fame range extender. So that might make him better for you. Which I'm no hate on you for that. But with Jimmy, I've got this weapon right here. And with that, combined with this, that for me puts Jimmy ahead, and the fact that Jimmy is 6'8", he's a larger character model. Equally broken hop dunks, but I would say Jimmy feels more explosive than Pierce. You guys have seen Pierce move around. Maybe you guys can judge it for yourself, but something about Jimmy just feels more glitchy than Paul Pierce. So, you know. Yeah, and Smith boys, if you suck at dribbling, then Paul Pierce is definitely... If you don't dribble, I would say Paul Pierce is better than Jimmy Butler. If you dribble, I personally would take Jimmy Butler over Paul Pierce. As you guys know, I'm a dribbler who likes to dribble. So I personally take Jimmy over Paul Pierce. But you know what? If I was facing a matchup where I didn't need Jimmy's ball handling and I wanted more shooting, I'd be very, very glad to have Paul Pierce in my lineup. And I'm 50-50. I might wind up keeping the Paul Pierce card because I do like what he gives, what he brings to the table. To be honest, I think the card he's more comparable to is Brandon Roy. He's like a budget Brandon Roy at the 3 position is what I would call Paul Pierce. He's a solid dunker, solid going to the basket. He just is missing a couple of elite dribbles to really, really hang. But as a shooter, he should be able to hang with anybody. And I'm tired of hearing about that steady shooter badge. I think people just are missing their green windows. I don't think steady shooters, you know, rising from hell and haunting your player and making them miss their shots. I think people just need to stop switching cards as much so they're used to the shots that with the cards that they're taking. But yeah, so that wraps up the Paul Pierce deep dive. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I saw the question, will there be a Drazen Petrovic video? Double Ace, I will definitely love to do a Drazen Petrovic video, and if he becomes affordable, which I imagine he will, I will definitely do that and pick up that card and sell him back and review that, especially, you know, a passed away Nets legend. Definitely want to get into that card. All right, thank you guys so much for rocking with me. Thank you so much for all of your support for the channel. The subscriber count is just going up and up. I really appreciate that, and I'll see you all in the next one. Please like and subscribe and share these videos if they were helpful to you or if you feel they would help somebody else. Okay, see you in the next one. Peace.